My folks told me they couldn't swing the cost of taking me on a vacation. Then I spotted my sister's kids settling into first-class seats. I didn't say anything right then. But a week later the smiles were gone. I've always been the other sibling. Never the favorite, never the one who got a pat on the back during family gatherings. I was just there. Emily, my sister, was the star of the show. The one who could do no wrong. The perfect daughter, the devoted wife. She was the kind of mom who made parenting look like a Hallmark commercial, two adorable kids, and parents who'd bend over backward just to keep her life easy. Me? I was Alex. The steady one. The guy who didn't make a fuss. Who showed up, paid his rent on time, and somehow always had a little something extra when someone in the family hit a rough patch. It started off innocent enough. "Lex, could you cover the electric this month?" my mom asked once. "Your dad and I are a little tight right now." I'd just landed my first real job, and I felt proud to help out. Then Emily needed a hand too. "No, it needs braces, and it's just so expensive. I hate to ask, but I know you're doing well," she'd said with a heavy sigh over the phone. So I chipped in. Then again. Helping with the bills. Fixing whatever surprise repair came up. Picking up school supplies for my niece and nephew. "Lex, you're so lucky," my mom would say with a grin. "You don't have all the burdens Emily has." Lucky. That's what they called it. And I told myself it was okay. I mean, it's family, right? And truthfully, I wasn't hurting financially. No kids. No mortgage. Just me. But there was one dream I'd held on to all those years: travel. I'd always imagined seeing the world. I saved up, looked at places online, daydreamed about wandering through cities I'd only seen in photos. But something always got in the way. A family emergency. A surprise expense. A guilt trip. So when I finally pulled the trigger on my dream trip to Italy, paid for every dollar myself, I kept it quiet. This one thing was for me. Just me. A selfish move, or at least that's what I thought at the time. I was at the airport, standing in line to board economy, buzzing with that weird mix of excitement and fatigue that comes with traveling abroad. Then I heard a familiar voice. "No, Noah, put your backpack down. You don't need all that, the seats are huge." I turned toward the sound, and my stomach dropped. There they were, Emily, her kids, my parents. Lined up for priority boarding. They were laughing, at ease, dressed like they were on some travel brochure. First class. For a second, I thought I'd imagined it. My parents, the ones who said they couldn't afford a vacation. My sister, who always acted like they were just barely scraping by. I took a breath, slow and deep. Maybe they'd saved up. Maybe it was some crazy stroke of luck. Then I heard my mom laugh. "Oh, I still feel bad we couldn't bring Lex," she said, chuckling. "Please," Emily snorted. "He wouldn't have fit in." Laughter. That was the moment something twisted in my chest. My jaw tightened. The gate agent called the group, and I turned away. I didn't confront them. I just stood there and watched as they waltzed into first class, without a clue I had seen the whole thing. And something in me shifted. I didn't text them. Didn't call. For the first time, I let the silence hang. I was usually the one checking in. The one asking if they needed anything. Making sure Mom and Dad were doing okay. But this time? I stayed quiet. And surprisingly, it felt good. My trip to Italy was everything I had imagined. Wandering through ancient alleys, sipping espresso at tiny cafes, standing in awe before the Colosseum, all of it was mine, earned and paid for by me. I should have been over the moon. And I was, mostly. But each night, sitting on my hotel balcony watching Rome glow in the dark, I kept hearing her voice. "He wouldn't have fit in." Those words stuck with me, digging in deep. It wasn't about the money. Not really. It was the realization that my family never actually saw me as part of them. That they'd laughed at my expense. I wasn't important. Not even an afterthought. I flew home a week later, and that's when the calls started. First up was Mom. "Hey, sweetheart. How was the trip?" Her tone was too cheerful, like she was trying too hard. "It was good," I said, flat as a board. "Oh, great! So listen, Your dad and I were wondering if you could help us out with groceries this month. You know how things are. I let the pause stretch long enough to sting. Then I laughed. It came out sharp, bitter. Groceries? I asked. You mean like the ones you picked up on your way back from flying first class? Silence. Then, a weak laugh. Lex, that was different. We had airline miles, and Emily found this great deal. Stop. I cut her off. Just stop. Sweetheart, it's not what you think. We would have taken you if we could. No, I said, my voice hard. You could have. You just chose not to. More silence. I could practically hear her scrambling for an excuse. We didn't think you'd mind. I shut my eyes and gripped the phone tighter. You didn't think I'd mind? I repeated slowly. No apology. No guilt. Just a shrugging confession that I'd never even crossed their minds. That's when I made up my mind. No more handouts. No more financial rescues. No more being the invisible brother who existed to make everyone else's life easier. 2 days later, Emily called. I almost let it go to voicemail. But curiosity won. What do you want, Emily? I answered, skipping hello. Oh wow, so now you're too good to pick up for your own family. She snapped. I smirked. Guess first class really changed you. Oh my God, Lex, are you seriously mad about that? Grow up. I am growing up, I said. That's why I'm done playing the family ATM. There was a pause. Then she switched into that voice she always used when she wanted something, soft, sweet, fake. Lex, come on. You know how tight things are. You don't have kids. No real bills. It's different for you. Right, I said. And yet I still covered things last month. Well, yeah, because you always do. She said like it was the most natural thing in the world. Like it was my role. Not anymore, I said. Just like that. She was quiet again. Then she laughed. Bitter, dismissive. Oh my God, she scoffed. You're actually serious. Wow. You're just a selfish little. Click. I ended the call. And for the first time I could remember, I actually felt free. That peaceful silence? It didn't last long. By the next morning, my phone lit up like a Christmas tree, missed calls, voicemails, texts, all rolling in nonstop. First came Mom. Mom, Alex, I don't know what's gotten into you, but this isn't okay. We're family. Families help each other. Call me back. Then Dad chimed in. Dad, son, don't be so dramatic. Your sister and the kids need your support. Come on, be reasonable. And of course, Emily. Emily, are you seriously ignoring Mom and Dad? Wow. You really think you're better than the rest of us now? I didn't respond to a single one of them. Instead, I got out of bed, made myself a strong cup of coffee, and planted myself on the couch in complete, glorious silence. Silence that, honestly, I hadn't had in years, not without someone needing something from me. And you know what? It felt incredible. But by midday, the tone shifted. The guilt trips turned into desperation. Another call from Mom. I let it ring out. Seconds later, a text buzzed in. Mom, Lex, please. We have a problem. I rolled my eyes. Here we go again. Another crisis. Another fire I was apparently expected to put out. Then another message followed. Mom, it's about the house. That one gave me pause. I sighed, staring at the screen. Every part of me wanted to ignore it. But that annoying little flicker of concern inside me wouldn't shut up. So I called. What now? I asked the second she answered. Her voice was dramatic, almost rehearsed. Alex, your father and I didn't want to burden you, but things have been tight. And we've fallen behind on the mortgage. I pinched the bridge of my nose. And you're just telling me this now? We didn't want to stress you out, she said quickly. But now, we really need your help. Help? I scoffed. You mean you want me to pay it? It's just this month, she said in a rush. Just until things level out a little. I leaned back in my chair. Funny, I muttered. You managed to pay for first-class tickets, but not your own mortgage? Silence. Then, a weary sigh. Lex, it wasn't like that. No, I said, cutting her off. It was exactly like that. You didn't hesitate to throw money at a luxury vacation for Emily's kids. But when it comes to me? Suddenly, you've got nothing to spare. That's not fair. She snapped. You don't know what it's like, raising kids, having real responsibilities. You're right, I said, voice colder than I meant. I don't. Because I was too busy cleaning up your messes to build a life of my own. Quiet. Then finally, in a tone that almost sounded genuine. Lex, we need you. And that's when it hit me. They did need me. But not because they loved me. Not because I mattered. They needed me because I was the glue. The one holding everything together while they ignored me unless there was something to gain. I know, I said. But this time, you're gonna have to figure it out on your own. And I hung up. And unlike before, I didn't feel a shred of guilt. The aftermath? The next few days were eerily quiet. No texts. No calls. Not a single tug on my heartstrings. For the first time in years, the peace was real. But I knew it couldn't last forever. Sure enough, on day 3, there was a knock on my door. Right on cue, Emily. I heard her pounding before I even glanced at my phone. Emily. Open the door. I took my sweet time. I wasn't exactly thrilled to see her. When I finally opened up, she stormed in like she owned the place, tossing her purse on my kitchen counter like we were back in high school. What the hell is wrong with you? She snapped. I raised an eyebrow. I'm sorry, what? Don't play dumb, she hissed. Mom's spiraling, Dad's freaking out, and now I'm stuck handling everything because you decided to throw a tantrum. I folded my arms. So what you're saying is, for once, you're dealing with it. She rolled her eyes. God, Lex, don't be dramatic. They need help, she went on. And you're punishing them because you're jealous. That word stopped me in my tracks. Jealous? I said, letting out a dry laugh. Yes, jealous, she shouted. This is all about the trip, isn't it? You're bitter because we didn't invite you. I shook my head slowly. You really don't get it. Oh, please, she said, crossing her arms. Go ahead. Enlighten me. I took a breath and tried to keep calm. It's not about the trip, Emily, I said. It's about the years I spent keeping this family from falling apart. Quietly. Without thanks. Without recognition. I paid bills. Bought school supplies for your kids. Covered emergencies. All while you, Mom, and Dad acted like I didn't exist unless someone's bank account hit zero. She said nothing. So no, I continued. This isn't about one vacation. It's about the moment I realized that the only time you all think of me is when you need me. Her eyes narrowed, but I kept going. When was the last time Mom called just to see how I'm doing? When did Dad ask about my life? I don't get calls unless someone needs something. And then, at the airport, I see you all in first class laughing. Talking about how I wouldn't have fit in. Her face turned pale. She knew I'd heard it. That's when it clicked, I said. I've never been part of this family. Not really. I was the insurance policy. The backup plan. And I'm done. Emily opened her mouth, then closed it again. For once, she had no comeback. Finally, she grabbed her purse. Fine, she muttered. Do whatever you want. But don't come crawling back when you realize how big of a mistake this is. I smiled. Don't worry, I said. I won't. She slammed the door on her way out. And just like before, I felt that same strange calm. For the first time in my life, I wasn't weighed down by guilt. After that whole blow-up, I knew it was just a matter of time before my parents took their shot. They weren't exactly the type to leave things unresolved. And sure enough, the next day, my phone buzzed with a text from Dad. Dad, Alex, come over for dinner Sunday. We need to talk. I almost laughed out loud. We need to talk. That was family code for we need a favor, and you're going to agree because you always do. I'd fallen for that line more times than I cared to admit. Not this time. Me, I'm busy. A minute later, the phone rang. I answered, just to see what angle he was gonna try. What? Alex, he said, trying for that calm, stern tone. This has gone on long enough. You're being childish. Am I? I leaned back on the couch. Because honestly, from where I'm sitting, I'm the only one in this family acting like an adult. He paused. Then sighed. Son, you're making this harder than it needs to be. We're family. Families stick together. Stick together? I echoed. You mean like how you all stuck together at the airport and left me out? Another pause. Longer this time. That's not fair, he said. We didn't mean anything by it. Maybe not, I said quietly. But you didn't mean it either. Silence hung on the line. Then came the shift in tone, classic Dad. Your mother's been really upset, he said, as if that should change everything. She's been crying over this. She just wants things to go back to normal. And there it was, the old familiar guilt trip. So do I replied. But your version of normal means I get treated like a living, breathing ATM. And I'm done with that. That's not what this is about. Then tell me. I cut in, my voice sharp. Why are you only calling me now? Why not last week? Or the week before? Why is it always only when someone needs something? He went quiet. Longer this time. Finally, with a sigh that sounded heavier than usual, he said, I don't know what you want from us, Alex. Nothing, I said. And that's the whole damn point. Then I ended the call. Next came the desperation phase. I waited, fully expecting the next wave, another phone call, maybe a flood of texts, or someone showing up uninvited at my door. But nothing came. The quiet this time felt suspicious. Then, one night, just as I was getting ready for bed, my phone buzzed. A text from Emily. Emily, I hope you're happy. Mom and Dad are in serious trouble because of you. I rolled my eyes. Me, the problem. Sure. Me, they'll manage. Emily, no. They won't. They're 2 months behind on the mortgage, Lex. The bank's already sending notices. Then she hit me with the guilt bomb. Emily, but I guess none of that matters to you, huh? Me, didn't seem to matter when you were booking those first-class seats. Emily, oh my God. Let it go already. That was one time. Me, yeah? One time that finally showed me the truth. She didn't reply after that. The next morning, my phone rang again, Mom. This time, I picked up. Lex, she sniffled. We're really in trouble. So I've heard. The bank, they're threatening foreclosure, she said. Her voice was trembling. I stayed quiet, giving her the space to say whatever came next. I know things have been rough lately, she said, her tone soft and shaky. But we're still your parents. Please, just help us. Just this one last time. That phrase, one last time, it hit me like déjà vu. They'd used those exact words the very first time they asked for money. Just this once, Lex. That had been years ago. No, I said simply. Lex? No, I repeated, firm this time. You made your choices. Now you get to deal with the consequences. There was silence. Then the switch. The sadness in her voice hardened, twisted into anger. You're being selfish, she snapped. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? I let out a bitter laugh. Really, Mom? Name one thing you've done for me in the past 5 years that didn't involve asking for money. Nothing. Not a single word. And that was the end of it. Good luck, Mom, I said, and I hung up. And then, the smiles faded. A week passed. Then 2. And finally, the news started trickling in. Emily had cracked. She dipped into her savings, something she had never done before. Not when I was around to play the family hero. She was the one scrambling now, covering the mortgage, paying off overdue utilities, even chipping away at the credit card debt they'd been quietly racking up for months. And it wasn't going well. A mutual friend filled me in. Apparently, things were getting tense in Emily's house. Real tense. Her husband, Mark, had no idea how much of the financial burden used to fall on me. Now that it was on them, their perfect life was beginning to buckle. Fights about money. Arguments late at night. The pressure showing in every little crack. Their polished image? Coming undone. Their relaxed smiles? Nowhere to be found. As for my parents, They were finally getting a taste of what life felt like without me propping them up. And me? I'd never felt so light. The silence from my family stretched on. Weeks passed. I kept expecting the next move, a guilt-ridden voicemail, a surprise knock on my door, some desperate message from one of them. But nothing came. I wasn't naive. I knew this wasn't over. They weren't reaching out because they were drowning. And me? I was finally free. A life without them. For the first time in ages, my paycheck belonged to me. No more slicing off chunks for someone else's overdue bills. No more last-minute deposits for Emily's kids' school supplies. No more tiptoeing around their emergencies. I started doing the things I'd always pushed aside. I gave my apartment a full refresh, new paint, new furniture. Even splurged on that high-end espresso machine I'd been eyeing forever. And then I booked another trip. Japan this time. A dream I'd held since I was a teenager. And for once, I traveled guilt-free. No anxiety. No texts begging for help. No feeling like I had to apologize for spending my own money on myself. It was like living a completely different life. One where I wasn't just the designated provider for people who called it love but acted like I was a bank account. Then came the collapse. One night, I was scrolling through social media, just killing time, when I saw it, a photo tag from one of Emily's friends. It was a picture of Emily and Mark at dinner. But something looked off. The caption read, "Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Hang in there, Emily." Her smile was thin, almost forced. Mark looked completely drained. They both looked like they'd aged 10 years in just a few weeks. Curious, I clicked over to Emily's profile. No more happy posts. No more beach vacations. No glossy photos of elaborate birthday parties or perfect family outings. Just silence. I raised an eyebrow. Then, out of nowhere, a message popped up, from Kelly, one of Emily's old friends. "Kelly, hey Lex. I hope this isn't out of line, but I thought you should know, things are rough for them right now." I paused, fingers hovering over my phone. "Me, why are you telling me this?" "Kelly, because I know how much you did for them. And now that you've stopped, well, it's all falling apart." A few minutes later, another message came through, this time with a screenshot. It was from a private group chat. Emily and a few of her closest friends. And there it was. Everything she'd been saying behind my back. "Emily, Lex is such a... He's just sitting there, watching us suffer like we deserve this. He doesn't care about anyone but himself. Emily, I had to drain my savings just to keep Mom and Dad's lights on. And guess what? They're still sinking. We can't keep this up. Mark's furious. He says it's their fault for leaning on Lex all these years. Emily, I swear to God, if Lex doesn't come crawling back soon, I don't know what we're gonna do." I laughed out loud. Crawling back? She really still thought I was the one who needed them. A call I didn't expect. About a week later, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost let the call go to voicemail. But something in me, curiosity, maybe instinct, nudged me to pick up. "Hello? Lex?" I froze. It was my dad. I hadn't heard his voice in over a month. "What do you want?" I asked, my voice flat. He let out a long, tired sigh. "Son, we need to talk." "No," I said plainly. "We really don't." "Alex," he said, slipping into that old condescending tone I knew too well. "Enough is enough. You've made your point." Ah, there it was. "But we're your parents," he continued. "And this whole thing is getting out of hand." I smirked, already knowing where this was headed. "What's out of hand, exactly? The fact that I'm no longer your personal bailout plan? You abandoned your family over a damn vacation," he snapped. And just like that, the truth hit me all over again. He still didn't get it. "This was never about the trip," I said, feeling the heat in my chest rise. "This is about all the years I put everyone else's needs ahead of mine, and got nothing but silence and expectations in return." "That's not true," he said quickly, a little too defensively. "We've always appreciated you. Then why was I never invited?" I cut him off. Dead silence. I could hear him breathing on the other end, could almost feel the weight of that question settling on his shoulders. But he wouldn't say it. He wouldn't admit it. Instead, he pivoted. Look, he said. Your mother and I, we can fix this. Fix what? I asked, my voice rising. That I finally grew a spine? That you can't guilt me into paying your bills anymore? That's not fixing anything, Dad. That's just going back to what worked for you. Another long pause. Then, he shifted tactics. Emily's struggling, Lex. She needs help. I laughed out loud. Couldn't help myself. Oh, now Emily needs me? I said. She's drowning, huh? And Mark's what, thinking about selling their house? And the kids are confused? Sounds like a them problem. Alex, be reasonable. I am, I said coolly. For the first time in my life, I'm being completely reasonable. He didn't respond right away. Then his voice dropped, hard, cold. So that's it? You're just walking away? I didn't hesitate. No, Dad. You walked away. At the airport. Remember? Silence again. Then a clipped, bitter reply. Fine. Click. The final goodbye. That was the last time I ever heard my father's voice. I thought maybe my mom would try again. One more tearful plea. One more guilt-laced message. But it never came. Emily? She ghosted me completely. About a month later, someone I used to know told me that Emily and Mark had sold their house. They'd moved into a smaller place. My parents? They'd downsized too. That big, comfortable life they used to brag about. Gone. They'd spent so many years pretending they were above me. That I was just a backup plan. But now they finally knew what life looked like without me. And me? I was free. Not just from their bills. Not just from their emergencies. But from them. I didn't owe them my success. I didn't owe them my money. And I sure as hell didn't owe them my forgiveness. So I took a deep breath, blocked their numbers, and didn't look back. For the first time in my entire life, I was living for me. And damn, did it feel good.